Hey, this is Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com. Before we get started, hit subscribe and make sure to visit my blog if you're looking for a list of supplies, or check out the description below. I'm going to make a frame for a board game. So the goal of this is to be able to hang the board games on the wall, have them accessible, and like a decoration piece. But what we're starting with is we are cutting our 1x4s. I have some 1x4 wood here. We're going to be cutting one, I don't know if this is 10 foot or 8 foot board. So we're going to be cutting a 𝐥𝐤𝐞 in here, probably a wide-ish one. But the purpose is to get it. We're going to be able to put the box in this container when we're done. So what we want to do is just mark how deep the box goes on here. Our 𝐥𝐤𝐞 doesn't interfere. So I've got this here. Well, I don't want my 𝐥𝐤𝐞 to be any more than really 7/8 of an inch deep into this wood. I think I'm going to start my 𝐥𝐤𝐞 at a 1/2 inch. I want to get it as close to here as possible. So ideally we're looking at, I don't even know what that measurement is because it's covered up, and I think it's a 1/4 or 1/8. Yeah, about 1/4 of inch in is what I want. So I'm going to get that set. Just to show you, I do have my table saw blade here. It is lowered, so it's not going to cut all the way through my board. This is the cut, and you want to make sure it's wide enough to fit your board game. So I'm sure different board games are going to be different thicknesses, but this one here fits mine. And let's see, it's maybe like 1/8 of an inch wide-ish. Ideally, you want to go a little wider. I think this one slid in pretty tight, so if you can go a little wider, that would be ideal. But it really depends on your goal, because it does fit, and it fits snugly, which is nice. But if you're planning to take something in and out frequently, like if you're planning to slide the board game in and out all the time, obviously you want to go a little bit thicker. You might want to do like 1/4 of an inch or so, which would be, I think you can see the difference there. The one thing to mention is that if you plan to do some sanding, which you might need to do, especially around some of the edges, and if you want to do any painting, you want to prime and paint this first. And just because it's a little easier to do that before you start assembling everything. And you don't want to get paint on your board game. So unless you want to be doing a ridiculous amount of taping and risk your board game getting damaged, you paint now. So ideally with raw wood like this, you're going to prime, and then you're going to pop a coat of paint on top. Okay, so I have all my pieces here. This is your front, and this is your back. I'm going to attach all these pieces with glue. The last piece does not get attached. That's the top. And that is going to allow you to just pull it off and pull the board game out if you decide you hate this. Because we're not gluing board games in place. We're not going to ruin them. And then I want to add this. I wanted a spot for this to set because this will help stabilize the board game so we're not pushing in on anything. So I wanted a piece to stabilize it and a place to put the board game. And then of course we'll have a spot here where all the pieces can go. That's a spot for little pieces. Okay, so this is all attached and dried. So at this point, what I want to do is add something to make it easy to hang this. And I'm using these little, they're like D-rings, but they look like this. I'm just going to attach them along the top here. There we go. Okay. So before you start anything, especially if it's important to you that any of your pieces don't get glue on them, you want to make sure, really sure, that nothing's still wet. You're going to want to dust off your stuff here. There we go. So here's the deal. You could put some screws here and here just to hold this in place. That way you can pull this off if you want, but it's still attached. I think that's going to be a good idea in terms of just adding stability. You can also add some pocket screw holes on the inside underneath. Okay, so we've got this. So we're going to put this here, flip this around to the back. These can all fit in here, and that can go there. And then we can just hang it up. Ideally, you probably want something back here just to hold this on. You don't want, this is a mess, but this will be against the wall, so it's not really a big deal. Whenever we want to play, we can pull it down. The board game. I guess pull out our pieces, pop it on around here. The only thing I'm noticing, and this is going to be a problem, is the way I attach these. They might cause a little bit of issue in terms of these getting in the way. You might be able to offset that by using some like little stickies or something, and that would protect your walls as well. Okay, and after hanging, this is what it looks like. It would look a lot better if there was more than one hanging here, but you could see it is hanging on the D-rings, and there's a little gap here so the wall won't get hurt. And yeah, that's all there is. I can pull it right off to use the game board and access all of the pieces. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can visit my blog, DIYDanielle.com, for more information about this project. Take care.